Hello and welcome to NAFDAC and Your Health, where we bring you all the important information you need to know about the regulatory activities of NAFDAC, that agency that has the constitutional mandate to safeguard the health of the nation by ensuring that the food, drugs, cosmetics, chemicals, and medical devices made available to us are safe and wholesome. My name is Opejemi Orimolade. On today's episode of NAFDAC and Your Health, our focus is the issue of pesticide residue in farm produce, which has occasioned the rejection of agricultural produce and semi-finished products derived from farming, which are exported from Nigeria. We will also go on to look at the frantic efforts being made by NAFDAC to enlighten and sensitize farmers, exporters, and relevant stakeholders on ways to nip the menace of pesticide residue in the bud. The mandate of NAFDAC to safeguard the health of Nigerians encapsulates the responsibility of putting in place regulatory rules that cover the manufacture, sale, distribution, advertisement, importation, and of course, exportation of the products under the agency's regulatory purview. This is why it is of great concern that agricultural products exported to other countries have in recent times been rejected by the countries of destination due to pesticide residue that made the goods unsafe for consumption. Chief among the herbicides whose residue has been found in the products exported is paraquat. This issue of export reject has, however, put the efforts of NAFDAC, particularly in the area of pesticide control, to questioning. It then becomes pertinent to know what efforts the regulatory agency has made in controlling pesticides.
To control herbicides is to ensure that the foods that we take are safe and they will make us healthier. So one of our primary roles, of course, is to ensure food safety, and the Veterinary Medicine and Allied Products Directorate takes that very seriously. Paraquat was banned about 2 years ago. The fact that we still have it in the market is not too surprising. First, because there are some people that will hide their own or mopping of the paraquat from the market. Some farmers feel that it is more effective in controlling pesticides, but it is not just the effectiveness in controlling pesticides, it is the effect on human beings, which is our primary goal, to make sure that we safeguard the health of our people. And when products are going for exports, we make sure that we do all the testing. In fact, for exports, testing is free for now, because we want to encourage more people to come through NAFDAC. Unfortunately, most of the rejects of our products, almost all the rejects of our products are products that did not pass through NAFDAC. And this is a great opportunity to tell Nigerians that we appreciate the efforts that you are making in terms of exporting things out of the country. That will be great for our GDP, to be great for the image of the country. It will be great for reducing joblessness. However, to lose that money once it gets to the other country, to me, it's heartbreaking. First, because I know what it is to struggle to make ends meet in this country, and now to lose that money because they did not come to NAFDAC.
NAFDAC believes that no exporter wants to run at a loss. Neither would they want to be the cause of the death of their fellow men, whether here in Nigeria or in countries where their produce is exported to. This is why NAFDAC has made it a point of duty to continually sensitize relevant stakeholders on what paraquat is, why it has become dangerous to human health.
Paraquat are example of herbicides, and the paraquat is a non-selective herbicides which are used to control weeds and grasses. Paraquat are highly toxic and fast-acting and kill plant tissues by affecting the photosynthesis which those plants need to survive. Paraquats are commonly used to control weeds in oil palm and cocoa plantations. They are equally used to control weeds in tea and banana plantation, also cassava and maize farms. So you can possibly see them in any of these products that are grown in those areas that I've mentioned.
Herbicides are a class of pesticides that are used in a weed control on a farm production. Now, a weed is any unwanted plant that grows on any particular plantation. You can have a vegetable leaf like amarachus to be a weed on cassava plantation. So any unwanted plant to a particular plot is classified as weed, and herbicide are the class of chemicals that are used to control those weeds on farm. So we can say that herbicide is a class under pesticide. So pesticide is the general umbrella of all these chemicals that are used in agricultural production.
If pesticides, and particularly herbicides, pose dangers to human lives, a question that comes to mind is, what is actually the significance of pesticides? If it is significant, are there ways to use them to make them harmless?
The use of herbicide in agricultural production is important because when it comes to commercial farming, where you are talking of farming on 500 hectares, 1,000 hectares of land, which we have in Nigeria nowadays, you can't be having manual weeding of the wheat on such farm. So it's better we use modern technology to get rid of the weed so that we can maximize our production potential. And depending on the type of crops we're looking at, there are different techniques that goes into herbicide application. There are some that are pre-emergence, there are some that are selective. Now, irrespective of the type you are using, the importance to food production is that we use the herbicide according to direction as specified, so that we don't create a problem in solving a problem. The problem we want to solve is to enhance food production so that we can be food secured. And if we have a lot of food produced and the food is not safe, it's as good as producing poison, which won't be good for the public health. Now, when we use herbicide on field, it is important for us to use it according to specification so that we can prevent residue. If we don't use it according to specification, if we use it below specification, we may not be able to control the weed we want to control. And if we use the concentration above what is recommended, then we will achieve what we want to control, but we will be leaving residue in the soil, which the crop that we're planting will pick, and it will be in the produce we are taking, which is no longer safe for consumption. So, and that is what is leading to the reject of the export that we're having. When the residue in those export goods is above maximum residue limit, obviously they will reject it.
You have been watching NAFDAC in Your Health. We will be right back. Please stay tuned.
Substandard, falsified, and counterfeit medicine is a threat to maternal and child health. NAFDAC, in its commitment to prevent maternal death and drastically reduce child morbidity, advises healthcare providers to ensure that quality, safe, and efficacious medicines registered by NAFDAC and properly stored are used. NAFDAC requires that registered medicines must have NAFDAC registration number, batch number, manufacturer's name and actual location address, manufacturing date, expiry date, and scratch and test for anti-malaria and antibiotic medicines. NAFDAC advises the general public to purchase medicines from registered pharmaceutical retail outlets as prescribed by the healthcare providers. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Welcome back to NAFDAC and your health. A type of herbicide once approved but later got banned is paraquat because it is particularly the herbicide whose residue has caused the export reject being experienced. Dr. Rametumo Modu, the Director, Veterinary and Allied Products of NAFDAC, explains the reason paraquat was banned.
Paraquat is banned because it has been found to be unsafe for use both in humans, animals, and the environment. You know, these days, we work with the concept of One Health, and that is how we approach everything that we're doing. And paraquat is found, you know, when it seeps into the soil, it can cause harm for humans who are exposed to it as well. It can cause irritation to the lungs, damage to the kidneys, and to all organs, actually, all organs, all cells, all tissues in the body. It causes damage, and at long exposure, it can cause cancers, and it causes Parkinson's disease. It is recorded. The studies have shown that it causes all of this, and because of that, globally, it is banned, and we align with international best practices, and what we have done here too is to ban it and to ensure that it is not being used. There is organic farming. There are many alternatives that they can use, and just even physical, to physically prepare the ground, you know, for farming. These are alternatives that they can use. And we are not relenting. What we're doing is it's continuous because we know the harm that it causes.
Regulation and regulatory activities is dynamic. For the fact that a product is approved, that does not make us to go to bed and say it is approved. We keep on monitoring the efficacy, the safety, the utilization of those products. Now, in the case of paraquat, continuous monitoring reveals that the residue of paraquat in soil, what we call half-life, is so long, and the safety is not assured because the residue being left in the soil is not being well managed by farmers. And where we have the first challenge in Nigeria agricultural system is such that our farmland is not a market and tag to a particular crop. A farmer can plant cassava this year on this plot of land, then next year he put in maize, then following year he put in soya beans. All these variation in crops have different soil utilization. For instance, maize is a surface soil utilizer, and cassava is a deep root. Now, if you plant maize first year, you apply some chemical. The manufacturer of that chemical is assuming that you are a maize farmer. The residue of that chemical on the farmland will have leached into the soil. If you are planting maize next year, those residue will not be at the reach of the maize again because it has gone down. So you put your fertilizer, you still get fantastic produce. But if you change and put cassava, that will go deep down into the soil. The cassava will now go and meet the residue down there and pick it up. So this inconsistency lead to the risk we have in our food chain. And in view of this, we discovered that paraquat residue, which we know to be very hazardous, a serious health hazard to human being, the point is it is bad for human being consumption.
Our product, sesame seed, being exported from Nigeria. For a while now, we've been recording rejects from country of trade. And this is because our farmers use this herbicides wrongly. They don't apply it properly. And by the time it gets to the country of trade, the pesticide residue, the allowable limit is exceeded. And currently, lots of countries like USA, like Japan, like India, they have banned the use of paraquats as an herbicide. And Nigeria also follows suit in 1st of January 2024. So because international trade has come a stop to this, we also as an agency, we have pronounced already that paraquat is banned in Nigeria, and there are other alternatives that we encourage our farmers to use as herbicides.
Paraquat should not be used at all, but there are other products, herbicides or pesticides. If they need to use it, there are concentrations that they can use it and it will be safe. And there are times, because there's a time to use it, there's a season to use it, and at different times along, as they plant and as they harvest and as they dry, there are times to use it correctly. It is when you don't use it correctly or in the right concentration, so you have a residue. So for those that are not banned, that is there, and they must read the label and follow exactly what the manufacturer of the product has said, written on the label.
Apart from banning paraquat, NAFDAC has proper regulatory guidelines and policies in place to ensure that pesticide residue does not arise, but certain factors have thwarted the efficiency the regulatory guidelines ought to have.
There's some farmers who don't know because they feel that this paraquat is very cheap. Is easily they are so used to it, cheap for them to use. So they must see some of these things they still find their way into the country, and the farmers are using. Most of our exporters, the people that are involved in this trade, they feel that NAFDAC, they don't know, or when they know, they feel NAFDAC will constitute bottleneck. So they don't pass through NAFDAC process before exporting this product. And it's unfortunate because after spending so much money to send the product abroad, get rejected, sent back.
Export reject is avoidable. It should not be allowed to tarnish the image of Nigeria, spoil the relationship the country has with other countries, or cause Nigeria economic setback. This is why NAFDAC will continue to sensitize farmers, exporters, and other stakeholders.
And now, moving on to NAFDAC news updates. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, recently held a sensitization program for agrochemical dealers in Suleja, Niger State, on the positive and negative impact of chemicals to human beings and to society at large. In her speech, which was delivered by the Director in charge of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Kenneth Azikwe, the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Christiana Adeyeye, explained that the essence of the sensitization was to let the dealers know the significance of agrochemical products to the society so as to do the business right.
The agrochemical you are marketing is a very sensitive, regulated product. It has its positive side and the dangerous aspect. The positive side is that the agrochemicals can be used to produce the food we all eat to stay alive as human beings. The negative side is that those same chemicals like urea and ammonium can be used to make dangerous weapons to take away the same life that food was produced have nourished. You can see 2 ways. It can take away life, it can also nourish life. And that is why in NAFDAC, we hold very important what you do, because you are a major and key stakeholder.
Speaking further, the NAFDAC DG said one of the requirements to engage in the business of marketing chemicals, whether agro or industrial, in Nigeria is to obtain the marketer's listing certificate. She stressed that it is necessary to obtain the certificate because it is the agency's instrument of controlling the activities of the chemical sector. The NAFDAC Director General, through Mr. Kenneth Azikwe, urged the participants to ensure that they belong to chemical associations so that they can benefit from NAFDAC trainings organized for chemical dealers through the associations on how best to handle and secure chemicals. This is because it will be capital intensive for the agency to train them one by one. He added that this will also help the agency to provide a uniform knowledge and thereafter monitor collectively what is done in the chemical sector. On his part, the chairman of the Suleja branch, North Central Agrochemical Dealers Association, Dr. Titus Katu, thanked NAFDAC for coming to sensitize its members on what to do to keep the society safe. He also pledged to ensure that his members abide by the rules guiding their business as set by the agency. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has uncovered the activities of some unscrupulous elements posing as missionaries and free healthcare givers at Community Town Hall, Abuloma, Port Harcourt local government area in Rivers State. The unregistered products include Evangelist Jenkins Supernatural Water, Evangelist Jenkins Cleanser, Evangelist Jenkins Eye Drops, and so on. These products are purported to treat goiter, cancer, pile, arthritis, rashes, fibroids, cataracts, glaucoma, and so on. It was gathered that some persons that used the eye drops got their eyes swollen, while the fake doctor, who is now at large, still assured them that the swollen eye is a sign that the drug is working. He told them that the impurities in their eyes would be washed out as mucus. When the NAFDAC team led by the state coordinator, pharmacist Emmanuel Onogu, stormed the town hall located at Jetty Road, Abuloma, they met a woman administering their fake drugs to some persons waiting in turns. The middle-aged woman, Mrs. Gladys Theophilus, who was attending to unsuspecting victims, was arrested, while the fake doctor claims to be outside the state when he was contacted on phone. The fake products were eventually evacuated to NAFDAC's zonal office at Woji Road, GRA Phase 2, while investigations are ongoing. The South-South Zonal Coordinator of NAFDAC, pharmacist Chukuma Oligo, has therefore warned the general public to beware of these unscrupulous elements claiming to be evangelists and selling concoctions in the name of medicine to unsuspecting members of the public. Their products are not registered or verified by any government body. Anybody patronizing them is doing so at his or her own peril. He reiterated that NAFDAC needs the support of the general public as the agency continuously pledges its commitment to safeguarding the health of the nation. He concluded by advising the general public to immediately report to NAFDAC wherever activities of these fake healthcare providers are noticed, as NAFDAC insists on zero tolerance for counterfeit drugs in Nigeria.
That was NAFDAC Update. You have been updated.
That's all we have for you on this episode of the program. Do join us again next week for another insightful package. We look forward to receiving your complaints, comments, reports, and observations on the activities of peddlers of unwholesome food products, fake, unapproved, or expired drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, and chemicals. We are easily accessible.
You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email reforms@nafdac.gov.ng or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
Don't forget, importing, producing, advertising, distributing and selling of unwholesome, fake, expired or adulterated food products, drugs, cosmetics and chemicals, all criminal acts, as they pose great danger to human health. Join the fight against these crimes by reporting all suspicious activities in your area to NAFDAC. Let's all be part of the effort to safeguard the health of the nation. Till we return next week, stay safe.